Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jeff Dotzler, President of Levity. Excited to be joined by Paul Hager, the Director of Solutions, the other guy on video. Um, we're excited to talk to you about a new version of our managed solution, some enhancements that we've added into our latest version. What we're talking to net new clients that are looking to add our fully managed program into their technology management program, what they have available to them and what we're talking to them about. And we wanted to make sure that we let all of you know of these enhancements because we feel that we're addressing some real threats and challenges that are out there in the market. And want to make you aware of it so that we can start having those discussions. If you are nearing a renewal, it's something that we'd be talking about, but you may have some challenges that we think that we can help, or that you think we can help you solve, and we want to give you that knowledge and the opportunity to start to evaluate these additional capabilities as soon as you're ready. So the first thing I want to do is thank you for continuing to be great clients of Levity. We feel that since over the last year and a half, when Gordon Flesch Company's managed IT program and ITP's program came together, we rebranded it under Levity last June, which is like 15 or 16 months already. We feel like we've really been able to build some great partnerships. We really appreciate the trust that you've put in us to help you manage your technology. And we just want to thank you for being along with us on this journey, and also for your patience as we've transitioned through, some changes. We've introduced some new things. You've met some new people, and we appreciate your patience and your willingness to continue to work with us as we go forward. So, wanted to make sure that I thanked you for that. As many of you have heard, as we've talked about things over the last year or two, technology management is really what we feel that we're providing to you, to our clients, our partners. Technology management is different than IT. IT, in our opinion, is the things that you use to solve problems. And it's typically reactive in most cases, or it's a product that goes in to solve a problem. We feel that technology should be managed proactively and not let technology manage you. In order to do that, we've put many programs, packages, and people together to deliver that strong technology management package. But we feel that technology management is really it's critical to have four things to have a good technology management program. The first one of those is we call them the four S's. And the first one is strategy. If you don't have a good strategy, if you're not thinking and making plans about the future as it relates to technology and managing that technology, then you'll be in a reactive mode. Through the development of technology roadmaps, which I know we've done for many of you and would like to be doing for all of you, the discussions that we have during your strategic business reviews, where we talk about your future plans, your goals, and how we can help to get technology aligned with those goals to help you achieve it faster, more efficiently, with less risk and hopefully less cost. That's really where we want to be positioned and how we'd like to help you. The second in the four S's, which is the back half of the word levity, is security. Security is really the cornerstone of what we feel is critical in today's environment. We're going to talk a little bit about how that is becoming increasingly challenging since the pandemic broke, March of 2020. The amount of cyber attacks, the amount of phishing expeditions, the amount of ransomware news that we're hearing about continues to increase, and we need to make sure that you are putting the right things in place to manage that risk, minimize that risk, have the ability to respond if something does go wrong, and ensure that you have continuous business continuity, and again, that risk management along the way. In order to have a good security and good strategy, you still need to have good solutions in place. That's the tools and the recommendations, the people, the things that are in place to make all of that work. And we spend a lot of time evaluating solutions, recommending solutions, supporting those solutions. Paul's going to walk us through our emerging solutions evaluation committee, a group of people that are put together, tasked with deciding what are the best solutions that are being considered to solve current problems. And that is a real critical part of a strong technology management solution. And lastly, support. Our service desk, the engineers, your client success team, even the VCIOs and some planning perspective, that support is really critical to have a good technology plan. It's IT. Things are not going to go perfectly every day. You're going to need to get a password reset. There's going to be something awkward going on with your device. Something will be disrupting your day, and you need to have the right people to call on to get that issue resolved, and or someone to come out on site to get that problem taken care of. So we feel that these four components are critical to have a good technology management program. And we're here to talk about how our strategy focus has led to some security enhancements within our newest version, version 4, that we're here to announce today. So, Paul, why don't you take us through the Emerging Solutions Group and how you lead that team to identify new solutions to help solve current problems?
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. And just want to echo that. Thank you to all of you for being existing Levity customers, and really happy about the strategic partnership we have today. And for some of you, we hope that coming out of today, you choose to kind of take the next step and continue on that path with us. So where it starts, though, like Jeff said, is our Emerging Solutions Evaluation Committee. So this is a group that I run here within Levity, and it's really unique, we think, to the industry. Most managed service providers, most organizations don't have the time and resources available and the skill level of people that we're blessed to have here at Levity. And we get together solely spending time focused on what's going on in the industry and what are the challenges that our customers at a broad level that we are seeing across all of our customers in all of our states and all of our markets. What are the challenges that are facing their business? So it's a team of VCIOs, solution architects from our mid-market team, engineers in the field, engineers in our service desk. So it's a broad range of our technical staff that I get the opportunity to meet with on a regular basis. And we're not just evaluating like, oh, we got this ad for this newest technology. Let's go look at the newest, greatest thing. We do some kind of futurescaping and looking at companies that are, baby technology companies that may be something down the road, but we're checking their maturity. Before we add anyone significantly to this, to our solution stack to solve a real world problem that we are seeing, we're going through a scorecard process. We're evaluating them against their next best two competitors that are in the market. We're doing all the things that if you had a full-time CIO, CTO, director of IT, and those team members, you had them and they had the time in their day to just spend focused on evaluating the direction of technology in the world and in the market and in your business. We're kind of mimicking that for you and then bringing that to you in the form of our updated solutions and offerings. And it's to keep you ahead of the curve because IT is always changing and evolving. And technology management is critical to giving you an offensive weapon that differentiates your business over your competitors who haven't been able to adopt the latest in technology. Or in this case, what we found was mostly around security, around what we're seeing in the industry from a continuing rise in cybersecurity insurance rates, which is an indication that even insurance companies are seeing the shift in the market, having to pay out on large ransoms. And what that means now is cyber insurance vendors are requiring more of you at your renewal to even give you a renewal, or your renewal will also be much more expensive. It's just one bellwether to what we see, in addition to just reading the headlines. Colonial Pipeline. Here at home, we saw Janesville School District, City of Stoughton School System, City of Sun Prairie, all have paid ransoms or experienced multi-week outages due to cybersecurity events, and that's just in our local market. And we have examples of that kind of all over the place. And so, just kind of updating the data that we have seen, not just locally but more broadly from like industry standard reports like the Verizon data breach report showed a 96% increase in breaches in 2020. So the bad guys leaned into the pandemic and are investing more dollars in attacking your organization. Those organizations that implemented some technologies to try to combat, they said, oh, we have a security problem. I'm going to buy some security stuff, which is why we don't have stuff in our 4S's, right? We have strategy to, in a moderate way, respond and get ahead of the curve. And then we have security and solutions, things that solve real problems. Organizations that went and invested in some stuff say that only 47% of those organizations are able to address most or all of those security alerts. So they bought some stuff, but can't even keep up with it, right? And that's a real challenge. And for us as an MSP, where we're managing many of your cybersecurity and many of your environments, it's even more, on our shoulders to make sure that we don't fall into this 47%, that we are able to stay out ahead of the curve within our own world. And then one of the scary statistics for everybody, this average that has kind of bounced between 270 days and 315 days, is the amount of time it took to identify and contain a breach in 2020. So it's not a question of if you will experience a breach in your organization, unfortunately. It's a question of when, and it's about that mean time to detection. How quickly will we see whether they have what they were doing in your environment, and how long were they in there? And will we have the tools available to us to be able to confidently answer for you, or unfortunately, maybe your cybersecurity, cyber insurance agent, how long that breach has been going on and how much they know and where they have been. So we need to get this number is scary and it's very bad. And we need to get it down from 300 days to hours in order to be truly resilient to what's going on. And that's going to take a big change in what it is that we have to offer. As people move to the cloud during the pandemic, or just in general are making the move through their digital transformation journey to cloud, which we agree with. We think in general organizations should move towards cloud. It doesn't mean that every organization should be 100% cloud. We often find the right mix for our customers and clients is to be in a hybrid cloud approach. But many of our clients have made the move to say Office 365. Have started to move their files into cloud infrastructures like SharePoint or OneDrive or Teams. But 92% of those businesses that then have made that have identified that they have a cloud security readiness gap. Who is watching over that file sharing, that ability to integrate? It's so convenient that anybody on any device can maybe log into OneDrive and get access to their files, way better than VPNs or hopping into remote desktop servers or S drives or Z drives. Yes, it's more convenient, but convenience also comes with it oftentimes a security risk. 41% of businesses say that cyber resilience is not improving because they are losing or don't have access to skilled staff. So Levity, I believe at this moment has maybe 5 open positions. We just filled 2 more last week, which we're very excited about. We are going to be at the forefront of hiring the best talent to make our team, different than anybody else in the market. But it is just a factual thing that it is hard to find really good people in general. Every business on this call, I'm sure, is saying the same thing. It's especially true in IT, where there's even lower unemployment, and it's especially true in IT security. And so this is where we think we can provide some advantage to you, giving you these fractional abilities to consume our virtual CIOs, fractional abilities to consume enterprise-grade security operations centers and network operations center teams that we're going to be able to bring this to you into the small business level. So we preach, again, since we know it's not an if, but a when, that you have to have a layered approach to security. And the more layers you have, the more you reduce the risk of substantial downtime, loss of business credibility due to a breach, or loss of business income because you wired money to the wrong place. You made payments to vendors that weren't real, or that your AP team got phished and sent payments to the wrong direction. And so it really starts with a layered approach to security. The first area of which is making sure that we have created awareness. So we had, I think, great content throughout all of October, Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Hopefully some or all of you got access to our free security posters and put them up around their office. Maybe you joined some of our Friday coffee talks around security issues. Maybe you joined our security webinar where I talked about these organized crime syndicates and the small business networks that they've built out. So we think we have to start with making your team more aware of that with security awareness training videos and phishing simulations. We need to make sure MFA is enabled across the board in your organization, that we're watching the dark web for known credentials, that we've then moved to a detect and respond endpoint solution. So something that's looking not just for files that are bad, which is what antivirus does, to IOCs or indications of compromise. Is the machine behaving in a way that's unusual? And we're adding to that in our version 4 access to what's called a SIM and a SOC, which are more acronyms. The IT business loves acronyms. It stands for Security Information and Event Management Solution and Security Operations Center. So let's talk about those briefly for a moment. A security information and event management system is software that's been around for many years, primarily adopted by enterprises, where every device on your network, everything that you have, every switch, every wireless access point, every computer, every laptop, every phone, all has a log file somewhere. If you've ever had to work with support in your own life in any way, it's fairly common to say, well, let's get the log file off of that machine. The log file is just some running text file explaining everything that that machine or device has ever seen or has ever happened to it. A security information and event management system gathers every one of those logs constantly throughout the day, ships those to either a device on premise or in the cloud. We leverage the cloud because of the volume of data we would have to store on your behalf. And it's not data like it's your Word documents or your files. It's metadata. It's who opened the file and when and from what device. And we gather that information and we run machine learning and AI models through it to pull out what is indications that there may be a bad actor inside your environment or attempting to get inside of your environment. And a SOC, a Security Operations Center, is a team of human beings that look at the results of that data and react on it. Unfortunately, the bad guys know what US working hours are, and they tend to attack around 4 or 5 p.m. Central Time on Fridays so that they have as much time as possible over the weekend, if that's going to be their only days in your environment, because they tripped a wire somewhere along the way of a product somewhere. They want the most time when eyeballs are not in to be able to get within your network. The next layer is to make sure that we have response and recovery. So we need to be able to respond to events that get triggered with that Security Operations Center waking us up in the middle of the night if needed, and making sure that we're able to shut the bad actors out and respond and then get to recovery. Every one of those examples I just gave you of local customers, or not customers, local organizations, or even the Colonial Pipeline, you don't have to pay a ransom for data that you already have. Let me say that again. You don't need to pay for a ransom for data that you already have, meaning that you have a air-gapped, not on the network copy of your data that they had zero chance of being able to infiltrate, that we can pull that copy down from. Now, we still, if there is ransomware or a threat actor in your environment, we still got to get them out and confidently lock the door as we shove them out the door. But as far as them gaining money from you, extorting money from you because they have copies of your information that you're going to need back because they encrypted it, if you have really good backups and that's where we're able to go get the data, then you won't hopefully have to pay that ransom. So a strong disaster recovery and business continuity practice is really critical to your security response. So these are the layers that we are building out. And this is what we have in our Levity version 4. As a reminder, if you've been on our version conversations before, maybe we've renewed your agreement recently or in the past, maybe you haven't heard about versions from us. As we brought different organizations together that had different offerings and packages, we wanted to create a common language to talk about how we describe the versions of solutions and services that you're acquiring from us. And so your version kind of helps us identify where you're at in your technology journey. So like I said, this kind of identifies where you're at in your management journey, and we're always going to be building and upgrading. I was on a call with a client recently who said, you seem to continue to come out with these new versions, and those new versions are probably going to cost more money, aren't they? And our answer is yes. Unfortunately, new solutions often require investments by us on your behalf, and therefore, the solution moves forward. That may not always be true, because we're always evaluating what is inside of each of these versions, and at times we may decide to swap out one offering for another as we continue to adjust to make sure it meets where you're at. But it comes from what we see going on in the industry and the attacks that we are seeing happen. That even if we put in really good point products, just like if you had 4 locks in your house and they're really good locks, they're the best locks that we can buy in the market. They're smart locks even. What happens if one of those gets unlocked by one of your employees at 2 p.m. and we didn't notice it until 4? So what is the overarching ability to check in on each of those things? That's the gap that we're seeing the bad guys be able to exploit. We're continuing to see our clients say, we hear you, Paul, about multi-factor authentication, but it'd be really hard to put multi-factor authentication on this really old application over here. Or it'd be really hard to have multi-factor authentication on all of our cloud-based users because our business owner, he's into technology, but he can't have disruption and he can't fill out his MFA code. Well, then we feel like we might be stuck. Well, we needed a solution, something that can monitor even what seems like normal behavior, whether MFA is there or not, which we think it should be. And so that's what led us to make a decision to put an upgrade into our 4.0. So our versions, we had talked about 1, 2, and 3. If you're in our version 1, that means that you are just consuming us in a very break-fix model. That's an offering, and just like Windows 11 was announced, so that means Windows 10 has kind of an end of life. We announced the end of life of our version 1s. We aren't providing ad hoc support because we don't believe IT should be reactive. We think it should be proactive. And that proactive looks like it comes in the form of our team coming on site or doing remote work on a regular basis to make sure we're staying ahead of the curve and on top of basic maintenance like patching and security, which brings you into our 2.0 or 2.x agreements, means you likely have a block of hours with us where we're being somewhat proactive in our approach, but you don't yet have access to our VCIO team to provide that strategy piece all the time that you can leverage and talk to and make sure that you're staying on top of your business and having 4 SBRs a year, et cetera. Then you have those of you on this call that are in our 3.0 or 3.2 or 3.5 offering, which means you have access to our team on an unlimited basis, which is really critical because it finally in 3.0 aligns our interests, right? If you're in a 1 to 2 version with us, whether you're in block hours or hourly, we are in this strange relationship where we kind of want your IT to break. I mean, we don't, but we only make money when it does. And that seems at odds to us viewing shared success. And that's why we want everyone to be on our version 3 or higher, because then you are paying a flat rate for anything other than scoped additional work or additional installs. So now the incentive is on us for your network to run as efficiently and as best as possible, so that we hope you don't need to call us for major things going wrong in your IT, that we're out ahead of things and being proactive. And then that really critical piece, having access to a dedicated VCIO. Our VCIOs do not take technical tickets. They don't go out on net new sales calls. They are only here assigned to your account to be there to help run your strategic business reviews, help you with your technology plan, and answer any questions about technology that you might have in between. Just got off a client SBR just a few moments ago. They are trying to figure out how to leverage telehealth as they see telehealth expanding out into 2023 and 2024, that Medicare has approved telehealth to continue to be paid out that far. So they're asking the questions of us and our VCIO team, how do we help use technology to enable them to capture this additional market share that's going to be available by using technology as a strategic weapon to get more business and to help more people, because they're in the business of helping people's mental health. That's where we want to be. We want to be talking about that offensive part of technology as a differentiator. We know we need to take care of the day-to-day and the password resets and all those sorts of good things. And we can't do any of that if your business is currently under substantial attack or you're doing your whole business on paper because we had to turn all of your computers off because of a cybersecurity event. So because of all of that, as we enter our new calendar or our new fiscal year, our ESC wanted to make sure that we had an offering that is what we think is the latest response to the investment, to counteract the investment being made by the threat actors in the environment. And so that's adding our most advanced security suite that we have available, and we're going to break that what we mean more enhanced security in the next slides. So wherever you are in your journey, we want to make sure that we are in that ESC always taking, this is called the Cyberscape. Cyberscape is just a visual indication of all of the vendors who are making security products, right? So you all hopefully agree with me at this point that cybersecurity is a real challenge. So what does that mean? That means a lot of companies get into the market and make a lot of stuff. And so here's a great picture of a lot of stuff. And our ESC condenses that down. We evaluate these vendors, not one of them. We evaluate tons of these vendors, not just for who has the shiny new tool, but who has the people, processes, and technology that we can bring into our market that is going to solve the challenges that we highlighted earlier. The challenge with time to detection, the challenge with awareness, the challenge with lack of cybersecurity talent being available. And so that's what Elevity's done in our 4.0 offering. We've evaluated, vetted them, and in some cases, Jeff and I have gotten on airplanes and visited their headquarters, made sure these organizations are financially sound, organizationally sound, secure themselves, because we are all collectively putting our trust when we involve these vendors in the chain of security for you. And so we come back in our version 4 of what we would like to call the Elevity Security Fabric, continuing on that layered approach to security. We start with kind of all those locks on the doors that we talked about. And these are smart locks. They're good and important ones. SentinelOne, a leading indication of compromise EDR, enhanced detect and respond solution. Office 365 from Microsoft, the leading product to manage your business and to give you access to email, real-time communication like Microsoft Teams. In the middle there is Fortinet, but could be managed Meraki if you're from our 3.0 program in the past, or maybe even some legacy SonicWall. But we view managed Fortinet as having the forefront of managed firewall capabilities. Our friends at Continuum ConnectWise, that we leverage their team and ours work collaboratively to vet all Windows security updates and help get them deployed to all your devices as quickly as possible. Then for those of you that are in our 3.5 or higher offering, you might have adopted some of the Mimecast email security solutions. So they provide email security, awareness training. They make sure that people can't impersonate your own business owners and pretend to ask people to go buy Google Play gift cards, or more importantly, maybe make sure your AP department doesn't wire money the wrong way, or that they don't get into your HR system and start changing social security numbers and direct depositing checks into not employees' bank accounts. Over 80% of the time, bad days start from an email that gets in that your end users accidentally click on or get convinced is a real email, and they start taking action on that. And Mimecast is really at the forefront of protecting that email security. In our 4.0 offering, we're adding in their CyberGraph solution, which is the latest from Mimecast. About 13%, if you join us in Mimecast CyberGraph offering, about 13% of your emails are going to get a new banner at the top of them. Not a generic one that says this came from an outside source, which we see those in all of our email replies and have quickly kind of moved on, that half the emails you see will just say from external sender, be aware. CyberGraph adds to a contextualized data, just an image that appears at the top of your email, whether you're on the road, on your mobile device, or at your desk. And it's going to give you critical insights from our AI into the cybersecurity scape that says that this domain was registered in the last 24 hours. This person's never emailed anyone in your domain. Just quick insights that help your end users provide context to that email. So if that email looks like it's coming from your CEO, but our CyberGraph is telling you that email was just registered in the last 24 hours, well, your CEO has been around for more than 24 hours. So something is wrong. There is a visual quick indicator that to your end users that this email has some security risks associated with it, so they can make better informed decisions about what emails they click on or take action around. And the next layer is particularly new to our 4.0 offering, and that is the integration of our change management solution, which if you're part of 4.0, all these systems are constantly being updated. You might be calling our service desk and having our team add new users or change users. We want to be able to see the history of how your account has changed, what access rights have been provided on what days by what people, so we can provide not only better support, but also continue to monitor security. Is there someone that is changing passwords that isn't us or isn't one of your staff? We need to be able to monitor those changes, those deltas across all of these solutions. And then our Howling Wolf, our friends at Arctic Wolf, a new partnership that we've launched with an organization that has the size and scale, over 1,200 employees, hundreds of which are security operations center staff that are available to look at all of the data that goes on in your environment and identify and pull out using AI and machine learning tools, what of those are really indications that a bad actor is logged into your environment. And we've already seen examples where MFA isn't on, and a bad actor had a password from the dark web, used it to log into somebody's Office 365 account, and Arctic Wolf, within minutes, is able to see that that was a strange login activity from a different IP than it's ever been logged into before, picked up the phone, is able to call into the partner, and we're able to work on your behalf or with you to quickly change the password, lock out the bad guys, turn on MFA. That 315 days is now down to 15 minutes. And we are actively preventing bad days from happening in environments. We think that this cybersecurity framework and the Levity fabric are what's needed to respond to the current threats in the environment of what your businesses are facing. And while this will come with it, some additional cost to deploy these mechanisms and these tools, we think it's really, not only is it what is likely to be required potentially of your next cyber insurance renewal, so some of these things won't be optional for your business, but more importantly, we want to ensure the uptime and availability and the survivability of your business, to not have to say that you've had a breach, to not reach out to your clients, not have to pay for credit monitoring for your employees because you had a threat actor get inside of your environment. You're on mute, Jeff. There you go. Quarter in the jar.
It's getting full, that jar. Thank you. So we don't have a slide that says, so here's what version 4.0 costs, because as in many things, variables that impact each organization and how this applies. Number of users, number of locations, a couple different variables. It doesn't take us long, but there isn't a standard price that we can necessarily share. So what we'd like to offer is a couple things for next steps. One is, just as a reminder, you always have available your client success team to reach out and ask questions to. Of course, our service desk and our engineers are always available to help with support issues, but your client success specialist and your VCIO, they're a pair, they're assigned to your account, really there to help support you on a day-to-day basis and with questions, and clearly the VCIO to help with strategy and some long-term decision-making, to help share more about how version 4.0 can impact you, why it's important for you to consider, and of course, provide some context around the additional costs and value associated with version 4.0. As Paul mentioned, we do have our versions in place. If you're on version 3.0 or newer, which means if you are using Service Desk, if you don't pay for a block or additional time when you need to reach out to us, you're on version 3.0 or higher. That version's not going away anytime soon. You don't have to make an immediate decision unless you that the security components we've talked about are important for where your business is at today. If you were a brand new client and reached out to us today and said, I'm ready to make a change and I need a new technology management provider, we would be talking to you only about version 4. We feel so strongly that our net new sellers are not allowed to talk about older versions because of what we've seen in the market around security. Is that going to price us out of a couple opportunities? Possibly, but we feel that it's critical that we live up to our promise to better manage technology and to have that fully layered approach to security. That is our required approach for net new clients. So we know that it may not be an easy transition for everyone. We want to make sure that we have a clear conversation about all of that, give you the opportunity to evaluate it, budget for it if you need to, all of those things. But don't hesitate to reach out to your client success specialist and or VCI to discuss it. If you're not 100% sure who that person is or don't have it readily available to you, we wanted to make it real quick for you to reach out to us if you'd like to. You can grab your phone and the camera portion of your phone, hover over this QR code. If you've attended any of our coffee break sessions, this is a way to get your coffee break gift card. Hover over that, and this little 4-question survey will pop up in a browser. We'll need your name, your company, your email address, and what you're thinking. You want to get after this right away. Maybe you're in an organization in an industry that is it has some compliance regulations. It's maybe something you want to think about sooner than later. There could be some other things going on in the business that you just want to get after this quickly. We can definitely have that conversation soon. Maybe you want to be put on our radar that at your next SBR, you want to make sure your VCIO brings it up. You don't want to talk about it right now. Totally fine. We can take that note, make sure that it's on your SBR planning notes, and that conversation can happen then. So take a minute, let us know how quickly you'd like to hear as it relates to version 4.0. If we don't hear from you, rest assured that you will hear about it when it's time for renewal. You'll be hearing about some of these additional solutions in the SVRs because the VCIOs are just talking about new capabilities when they're out meeting with you. And so this won't be the last time that you'll hear about it. We wanted to make sure that you had the opportunity to hear about what we're doing, why we're doing it, what we're seeing in the market, why we feel that these are critical steps to ensure that your business is secure. In fact, something that Paul, you didn't mention, but I think it's a very important thing for people for us to talk to people about. Alevity, we're part of Gordon Flesh, about 700 employees across 7 different states. And we are actively deploying the services and solutions that are in version 4.0 because we feel that it's critical for our business to have those things in place. The new Arctic Wolf relationship is kind of that last piece. That is, we're preparing a change management plan to roll that out organizationally because we just feel not a small expense, not something to be taken lightly for organization of any size, but definitely one with 700 employees, but one that we felt is just critical for us to move in that direction. So we'd love to talk to you more about this if you have specific questions. I believe you have the ability to post a question in the chat if you'd like, which is a little kind of a thought bubble up in the Teams control panel. We'll hang out for a few minutes if you do have any questions, or please feel free to scan the barcode and enter in your information, or just reach out to your CSS and VCIO, and we will be back in touch soon. Paul, anything to share here at the
No, that was a really good point. Thanks for bringing that up. That we believe in the solutions that we have. We believe that they're critical to protect our business, and you should only work with partners and businesses that take it very seriously, like we do when it comes to cybersecurity, because we're on the front lines of all of this. And you may have our 3.5 offering, which has a lot of the security solutions you saw here, and those are really good steps to take. We just feel like it's a battle that's still being won by the bad guys, and we're trying to always stay on top of that. Arctic Wolf has a really good pie chart of all of the security incidents that their SOC responds to. How much of them come from the EDR product or the email security product or the firewall? Like where are they detecting ultimately that the bad actors are in the environment? And I thought what was interesting about that is about 30% of those are only detected by Arctic Wolf, got through the other things. There was still 30% of a gap that you just had to collect all the log data and pull that all together before you could really see that there was a bad guy in the environment. And then it gives you that whole replay capability. We can answer the question of who came in, when, what users they compromised, and their whole journey through the network. And replaying that log information is one of the first things that your cyber insurance company is going to ask for. What's the history? Where are the logs that you can produce for us to show that you either remediated it successfully or didn't, to give us an indication of whether we're going to insure you again or what level we need to communicate with your end customers of a breach that you've had. And then there's all these compliance frameworks: HIPAA, PCI, CMMC, GDPR. A tool like this, we can help you respond to those security audits, FISMA, FINRA. Maybe you're in the financial industry. This will help you with your audits and allow us to produce reports that start checking boxes off, not only for cyber insurance, but also for your areas of compliance within your business. And that's all of that kind of goes into why we don't just have a quick 4.0 costs this much dollars and you get a free food dehydrator with it. It's just not that simple. And if you're in a regulated industry, we may recommend different knobs get turned differently for your organization versus others. But we feel all organizations, like Jeff said, if we met you today and we had the opportunity to do a technology 360 assessment, we would recommend and say that it's critical that your organization move to the 4.0 proactive, strategy focused with dedicated VCIO with the modern security suite, including a SIM and a SOC today. That is what we would tell you if we met you today. And I think you all can appreciate that we wanted to take the opportunity to convey this message directly to each of you. And again, work. And if you don't know who your VCIO is because you're on a version 2 or 1 that didn't have access to it, we will introduce you to a VCIO if you are interested in seriously talking about this move towards 4.0, and you can start to experience what it would be to have an adjunct member of your executive team be be able to help you make some of these decisions and navigate it. That team is fantastic, and they're here to help businesses navigate it. And if you know anybody, we are trying to grow that team because of our growth that we've experienced this last year, and we have openings in some of our markets to continue to grow that group and continue to make sure that we're providing good, one-on-one relationships if you're our existing clients with our VCIOs.
All right. Well, it doesn't look like any specific questions have come in. So want to thank you for attending today's session. Want to thank you for continuing to be a great Alevity partner. Hopefully, we're continuing to meet your technology management needs, and you feel that you're getting a great value out of the solution that we're providing. Please let us know if and when you'd like to talk further about version 4.0, if there are some immediate things that you think that we can help solve. Otherwise, your client success specialist and VCI will be in touch to make sure your next SBR is full of great information and content and more about version 4.0. So thanks again, everyone. Have a great rest of your day and appreciate, again, you attending.
Thanks, everyone.